Okay, my friend, hopefully that you are doing great. So we already learned a lot of ways to interact with the web elements on the page. So today I want to introduce for you another thing that is the pay object model. So before going to construct a pay object model or something like that, I want to share you about the problem first. That means we need to understand what is the problem if we don't use the pay object model? In other words, so we need to understand what is the purpose or the usage for the pay object model. So just let's imagine that you have a lot of test script in automation test. So the first test, you go to the login page, and then you go to the screen A, do some other stuff here on the screen A. After that, you will be navigated to screen B, and then you do other stuff there. And then in another test script, you also go to the login page again, go to the screen A again, and then go to the screen C to do other stuff, and so on for all the tests. The thing here is you can see that on the login page, we will do something like click on input username and input the password. And it happened again in the another test script as well. So that means if there's something changed in the DOM tree, we need to change in n places in all our test script, because just a little thing change here in the login base, but because we just do something like try to do over and over, we declare over and over some selector like that. So that means when there's something change, we need to change a lot of places. Does it make sense, right? So if we do something like this, for example, we have a lot of tests, and we try to think that, okay, so all of that text script over the login base and then go to the screen A. After that, we have something like screen B, screen C, and so on. So if we have something changed in the login base in the DOM tree, so that means there is just only one place for you to go and update for test script. So compared to the old one here and this one here, you see the new approach here is just more efficient, because you don't need to spend a lot of time to update something like that. And that means your test is now maintainable by reviewable this component. And that's the the concept about the pay object model. So it's very simple. So what's a pay object model? So you just remember something simple, that's a page or a part of a page is abstracted as a class, right? So basically you have something like a page, but now it's not a page anymore. We will abstract it to be a class. That's it, right? And another thing that you need to remember, a page can contain multiple reviewable parts. So that means here we can create a whole page at a pay object model, or we just construct some particular part on the page, and then after that a page will contain multiple reviewable parts. Okay. So now just go back to our test script here, and then you can open the login form that we do before. So you can see here we do something like private file element here, private file element here, and then what I have just said you. So in another script, if you keep doing this, and then for example, some days the DOM tree change, and this ID is not existing anymore. So that means you need to update your test script in many places. Okay. So now what we do, we create a new package with the name model. Okay. So under this package model, I want to create a new package with the name page, and I will create a new package with the name not this one, model dot component. So you can see here, the page is for the whole page, and the components package that I want to contain all of the USB components on the page. We will talk in detail about that later, maybe in the next lesson, not today. But I want to structure the whole code first, and then we can go for the next lesson easier. So now we have the package model.page and the model.component here. So if you go to the package page here, and then you create a new Java class with the name login page here. Okay. So let's try to open the login page again. So it should be the form authentication here. So this form authentication is now because we want to abstract this page to be a class in language programming. So in as a class, we have property and we have the methods, right? So now I want to, put all of the element of the selector on this page will be some property, and then I will try to return the web element that I will find on the page out, and then we can reuse. So that means I will have something like private by username equal by.id, right? As you still remember username, and I will have another property here by password equal by user by ID password here. This is property in this class. And then what I want to do is I will introduce some methods here. So what I do, I will try to have public, and I want to return web element for the username, right? Actually, it will be a gesture here. So I will return what? I will return driver. Okay. So before returning here, this is a base, and I need to have a constructor to get the driver instance outside. So I will have public login login page. And then I want to get something like as a web driver instance here. Then I will have something like private web driver instance here. Now after I create a new object, and then I will provide a driver instance for this class. So that means I will do something like this dot driver equal the driver that I'm going to provide. So here now, if I want to return, I will do something like driver dot file element by username here, but to distinguish, I will do something like username slash store and the password slash store here. Okay, so I will push inside here, and I will do the same thing for password as well. So what I do, I will have a public web element here. In this case, will be the password field, right? And return driver file element should be password slash store. So that's it. So now just take a look again. So now I have just abstracted the login base to have the web driver instance here as a private property. And then we have two more properties that we have the username and the password. And then that means we have the username selector here and the password selector here. We have a constructor to do just only one purpose right now. That's I want to have a driver instance in this object after I created the object from this space, this class, okay? And then I will have a two gesture here. So this gesture, I just simply return the web element that I find in the page. That's it. And then I can reuse. So how can you use it? Now, what I want to do that I will create another package with the name because I already created a test package here. Okay, so you can create a new bucket with the test. Just ignore some other classes here. I already created for some example purpose. So just ignore them. Okay, so in this class, I want to do something like test login with pay object model. Something like that. You can name anything because it's not a real test script yet. I just want to introduce very simple about pay object model for you. So don't think about that much. Okay, just put any name. So now inside here, I will create another main method, and of course, I want to create a driver instance. So as you still remember, I will get web driver class utility, and then I will call the get from driver. So after that, I will do something like login page here. That means you can import manually yourself, but you can get the suggestion from the IDE. After you put something login page, and then we will have some suggestions that you already saw what I did. So if you import this here, it will be imported here automatically, and then the login base equal new login base. So I call the constructor, and then of course I put the driver instance inside. So now I have an object from the login base. So what I want to do that I will call login base dot username, and now I will call the Selenium API. In this case, I want to send this here, and then I will just put something. Okay. And then after that, I will do the same things, password here. For example, this is username, so it's Tom Smith. I still remember, and the password is super secret password or something like that. But we are not, we don't focus about whether this credential is correct or not. Just an example, okay? And then you see, we have just forgot the final element here on the page, so we can update. This is the button with the type submit here. So what I do, I will come back to the page object here. I will create a new property with the name login button selector, and in this case I want to use CSS selector here, and what I have just shown that is have the type equal submit. Okay, and then what I do, I will just copy and then do the same thing. Is it right? So in this case should be the login button, and then I will return driver file element login button selector. There's a typo, so let me try to refactor and then try to change the name. So it should be something like button here. Yep, this one. So now in the test login with base object model, what I do, I will call the login base and the login button, and then after that I will click here. So after I have the new page here, what I want to do, I will do driver.get, and then I want to go to the target URL. So there's a little thing here, that's the way we navigate to the testing side. But don't worry about that, because we will discuss about to handle something like the testing URL in other lesson. Okay, so I just want you to focus to the base object model. Very simple first for the first lesson, because this is not the only lesson about the pay object model. So just do step by step. So here we will go to this page, and after that we will use the objects that we already created from the login base, and then try to interact here. Okay, now try to run this test. So the browser is now launching, and then we can see that we already input the username and the password, even it was not correct? But at least you can see that's how we construct a pay object model, and then how can we use it. So now, for example, in another place, you want to try to input the username password again. So what you do, you need to create a new object from that space object class, right? And then you just use it like we have just did here. So for example, in one day, there's something changed in the DOM tree. So you need to go here and then you just update the selector or change the logic inside, and then this will be expected in other test scripts. So that's it for the very first lesson about pay object model. So try to practice yourself and see you in the next lesson. Bye for now.